You know what? Alpine have absolutely been outstanding in 2026, and I've got me questioning and thinking, what on earth? Like, how did this happen? How did this come about? We have to give credit where credit is due. I am the first person to slate Alpine when they mess up, when they act up, but I have to be right with this one. Alpine have been absolutely phenomenal in 2026, and I wonder what that has come down to. I'm starting to pull apart the pieces as to what was the change, what was it that the catalyst, let's say, that brought Alpine back to where they should be. I mean, these guys are ahead of the Red Bulls right now. That's more on the Red Bull than it probably is on the Alpine, but nonetheless, they're still ahead of the Red Bulls. The Alpine looks brilliant. Surprisingly, it looks really good. I'm shocked at how good this Alpine is. I'm shocked and surprised to see good performances, and not only that, consistently. Do you know what I mean? Like consistently is one of the things that I think is what shocked me the most. Everybody can have a one-off. Everybody can have a good race weekend. Everybody can have, a good quali lap, or just circumstances can happen their way. They have a favorite track, maybe a certain favorite track that they like. Maybe that could be something part of the issues here, or the thinking behind the performance. But I'm really intrigued to think that there's actually more to it than meets the eye. I think there's a lot more good with Alpine than probably people are giving it credit for. And so there's a couple of things that I've thought about this week, and I want to start things off with the fact that they actually thought about 2026 early. This was a team that was like headstrong on 2026, making sure that they nail it. They gave up on the ground effect era very, very, very early. If you remember, like part of probably the issues that they were having was them trying to be integral and sort of be at least half decent in the 2024, 25 kind of era, and at the same time put all the eggs in the 2026 basket. But what we saw from the Alpine over those last couple of years was horrendous. It was absolutely atrocious, the way that they had behaved, the way that they turned up to races, the way that they came with a car that was overweight. They kind of they would it was almost like they wasted time, really. And the more I'm thinking about it now, the more that makes me think, if they actually just done just collapsed the 24, 25 season, 23 season, and really threw all their eggs into the 2026 basket, would they be much better than now? Because where they are right now, I would argue is that they're the front of the midfield. They are among the best of the rest. I think they're ahead of the Red Bulls at the time of recording. I think they are ahead of the Red Bulls. We'll see what happens in the month of April. We'll see how Red Bull, what they decide to do over the course of the season, to see whether or not they can improve. We've got a crying Max Verstappen. We've got an Isak Hadja who is doing his absolute best, and he's doing pretty well in all things considered. I think Max Verstappen needs to take a leaf out of that book. That's another video for another day. But in all honesty, I think Pierre Gasly and Colapinto have actually been stunning. They've actually been really good this season. And it's not because their car is necessarily all that, because it's not all that in a bag of chips, but we're still seeing like Q3 appearances from the Alpine. We weren't seeing that long ago. But clearly they threw all their eggs into this basket and it's paying off. The second thing I would probably bring up, though, Flavio Briatore, it's time to put some respect on his name. Not many people want to. When they think of Flavio, they think of the fact that he's a cheat. They think the fact that he's hostile, that he will cause a ruckus in any business that he's in. He's controversial. He's a straight shooter. And that may be true, but let me tell you something right now. He was the actual thing Alpine needed. Because one of the number one things about Flavio Briatore is he knows how to win. He knows how to win championships. He knows how to, at the very least, put a team straight, if that makes sense. If you think about it, I bring up Fabio Briatore because of the fact that there's not been crazy structure reshuffles anymore. Like when you think about it, there's not really been any reshuffling, has there? For once, the Alpine has actually been very, very steady. And that's unique. We don't normally get that from the Alpine. It's been very, very steady in 2026. In fact, if there's nothing happening with Alpine for 6 months, that's a good time. And I think I mentioned at the beginning of the season, and especially after the preseason testing, and I said, no news was good news for Alpine. Nobody spoke about Alpine. No one was talking about Alpine. No one's talking about Alpine now, really. But they're starting to see those performances from Pierre Gasly be somewhat consistent over the course of the season. They are very, very consistent. And honestly, like, hats off to Flavio Briatore for that, because I think he's the reason why the Alpine is a lot more stable and a lot more sturdy. When I look at Alpine now, I don't think of the harem scarum, chaos I don't think of the chaotic team anymore. I don't. And so much so, people I think have forgotten that they exist as a team. I certainly almost did, you know, especially that they moved away from their engines, which was probably number three. I was bashing them for moving away from the Renault engine. Not because I thought the Renault engine was good, because it wasn't performing. But when you're Alpine and you're a Renault, they're formerly Renault. Renault engine is them. This is their car. This is their engine. It's their brand. And when they then got rid of their Renault engine, it showed me that there is so much more problems and damage to the Renault company and the Alpine company combined that even meets the eye. I genuinely thought we were looking at a team that was about to go and dissolve. Go and dissolve because I wouldn't even thought administration because there's so many investors in the team. So it's got me thinking like, will people believe in the Alpine project? How and why and when and whatever, your Ryan Reynolds, your Anthony Joshua's, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm sure I'm missing a few other people. I was gobsmacked to see these people there. Honestly, for business, on a business side, I just thought this is like beyond what the thinking would be. I think of these people as intelligent people. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right as well. Maybe they are intelligent people in the end because maybe they've made the right decision. Who knows? But the Mercedes engine in 2026 is world class. It's the best engine going. It's the engine that you want to have in 2026 because the Mercedes team themselves are absolutely stunning. The McLarens, once everything's been put together, they look good. Oscar Piastri nearly won the Grand Prix in Japan. They look good. You know, it's just that the Williams, their car's overweight, and Carlos Sainz is still getting it into the points. Do you know what I mean? Like there's still something going on there at the very least. But also look at the Alpine. If there's a story, look at the Alpine. If you want to talk about a story about the Mercedes engine and how good it's been this year, I look at the Alpine. The Alpine looks really, really good with this Mercedes engine. And I've heard, talk around it when Flavio joined Alpine and said, look, I'll come in as executive advisor and whatever the title is on this condition that we get rid of this Renault engine. And it's no, Flavio has seen the Renault engine perform. He's won championships with the Renault engine. So it's not even like a bias or anything like that. He didn't come in there and just straight up criticize and whatever. But he's gone in there and he's sort of looked at the situation and said, no, we need to sort this problem out. And he's gone and done that. And I think that's absolutely phenomenal from him. I think that's brilliant. What he's done, he's gone in there. If it's true, if it's the case that he's going in there as long as the Mercedes engine is coming to town, happy days. I just thought that when Alpine took that Mercedes contract on, they were just going to be another team that's not going to benefit from any of this because they're going to be lagging at the back or in the midfield because, Mercedes ain't going to give them a strong engine. But then again, McLaren won the championship back to back. They've won 2 constructors' championships. They've got a drivers' championship with the Mercedes engine. They're a customer team. And Alpine have thought, you know what? Let's be like McLaren if we can. Let's grow somewhere. Let's go somewhere with this. I remember even Pierre Gasly talking about that stability again. Pierre Gasly signed a new contract last season with Alpine till 2028, and I remember making a video saying Gasly's finished. He's done. It's over now. The Formula One dream for Pierre Gasly is done and finished. And how wrong am I? I'm completely off the scale here because he must have seen something. He must have known something, you know. And speaking on Gasly, like they've got 2 good drivers, Alpine. That's another reason they've got good drivers. Colapinto has had a big learning curve over the last couple of years. But I tell you what, man, there are drivers in Formula One who go through it. They go through the hardships. They go through the mire, and the thing that makes them stand out above everybody else is whether or not they can come out the other side. I think of Kimi Antonelli last year, for example, a guy who came into Formula One, everybody was praising him, everybody was loving him, and then it hit the fan in the European circuits last year, and he was really going for it, went for a really tough time. He came out on the end of that season decent. He started 2026 like a house on fire, and it's the mentality. It's the mentality of these drivers that I'm thinking, this is what we need to see. This is what we need to be seeing from these drivers. This is the kind of thing that will excel a driver. Colin Pinto started at the Williams and he looked good. I'm trying to remember who he replaced. He must have replaced somebody for a certain period of time, but he was good. I even forgot. But then he went to the Alpine, and we thought, okay, cool, he's got his permanent seat there, and he hasn't lit up any trees at all. In fact, he's been making mistakes. He's been causing collisions. He's been, he's just not been good. And especially, it's not been the Colapinto that we saw at Williams, who was very impressive. But I have a feeling in 2026, as time goes on, we're going to see a Colapinto who's going to grow and get better and better and better, because there is still a fast driver in there somewhere. Like when he came in, like Flavio Briatore was like, look, we need to drop Jack Doohan and get this guy in because he's the quicker driver, he's the better one. And everybody was very much like, even me, I saw like the way they dealt with Jack Doohan was very, very nasty. This whole five race thing. We knew it wasn't going to be 5-5. We knew what time it was, and I think Jack Doohan knew what time it was as well. But hopefully, we'll see Jack Doohan again, like close to the circuit again, soon. But Colapinto, I think, will grow, and I think he will get better as long as he's got the mentality. He will get over this hurdle, and he'll be absolutely fine. So I'm not worried about Colapinto at all. The other thing that's impressive about them, the other thing that's clicking with Alpine, they're consistent over the different types of tracks. Like when you think about it, Pierre Gasly has been brilliant these first three races of the season. And yeah, three races only. I can hear you lot now. It's just been three races. Let's calm down. But Australia, Japan, China are three different types of circuit. And let's go back to last year a little bit as well, because I think towards the end of last season, I remember seeing Pierre Gasly doing pretty decent, doing really, really well. And so you bring that together with this season, with the different types of circuits we've got this season, the Alpine is consistent. The Alpine is consistent, and it's consistent at different tracks, which is a big, big plus. And people can't sleep on that. They shouldn't sleep on that. This is really, really impressive. I'm delighted to see what Alpine is doing. I'm delighted to see that there's finally some light at the end of this tunnel. I'm delighted to see that because it's been a long time coming, by the way, for Alpine to finally get their finger out and actually do some good performances and see some stuff. Pay attention to the fact that they are doing good at different types of circuits. They're consistent. They're consistent, and they're consistent in different tracks. And that is what's impressed me the most about them. That proves to me that Alpine is for real this season. And what do I mean by for real? I mean the fact that they're going to be ahead of the midfield pack throughout the duration of the season. I think the Alpine will also be better than the Red Bulls this season as a whole, because I think Max Verstappen will get his time. Isaac Hadjar will get his time. Don't get me wrong; they're going to get on the podium. They're going to get the points. They might even get race wins. But the Alpine of it all, if Alpine finishes P5 this season in the Constructors' Championship, that would be phenomenal. Considering what Williams were doing to get into this stage, where the hell Aston Martin are, the Racing Bulls, Audi, there's a cluster right there. To see those guys be at the head of that, I would have never thought it in a million years. Never would have thought in a million years in 2026 that would be this good. But I should have known, man. Flavio Briatore is there. Pierre Gasly is a good driver. Let's have it right. He's a decent driver for sure. And I think he's probably the only other driver, only other probably Mercedes or like non-Mercedes or non-Ferrari driver, even though he's a Mercedes like engine driver, that is consistently getting in the points, strong points. He's in Q3 a lot. That's the impressive thing about it all. So to see what's happening with Alpine, pay attention, man. Alpine are doing a great job in 2026, and that has to be applauded. I'll be the first to criticize them when they're doing poorly. I have to be the first to applaud them when they're doing so well. They've been absolutely fantastic. What do you guys think in the comment section down below? Let me know. Do you think the Alpine is for real this year? Do you think they've done an impressive job? Do you think it is just, three races, just watch, they will come back to norm? They'll be them normal selves towards the end of the season, because it's a long, long season. Formula One is crazy long, and we have to wait and see what Alpine will do. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the Alpine of it all. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, lights out.